All right, good day, everybody. Welcome. And today we're going to go ahead and start. So, again, this is for Algebra 1 credit recovery. And we're actually going to go through two lessons in this video. So, we're going to go through the whole entire week. That way, you just have one video for everything. Okay? So, here's your quote for today: act as if what you do makes a difference. Because guess what? It does. All right, anyway, so yeah, the homework, I'm going to go ahead and post these with it. It's going to be graphing slope-intercept form, and the other one is going to be standard form. So there's going to be two separate sheets for you to do. All right, so you don't need to be taking the picture of the notes for this one. I'm going to actually give you the assignment. Okay, so here's a little warm-up for you to do. Just some practice. Yeah, I'll assume you're going to pause the video and then I'll continue shortly. Okay, so anyway, like I said, I'm assuming you paused it, so I'm going to keep going. And this is, remember, slope. So if you want to find slope from the last lesson, that is going to be the change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to do kind of a little shortcut here. So if I'm going to look over here, I see from 2 to 2. That's y, right? Is there a change? The answer is no. So that means it's going to be 0 over here. Now from the x's, that's 2 to -5. Honestly, it doesn't even matter because 0 over anything right here is automatically going to be 0. Okay, so I have a slope of 0 here. Same thing, you actually see that it's the same number, just reversed. So the change in y over here is going to be from 2 to -5. That's going to be -7. Now, a lot of people say, isn't that -3? No. If you're going from the second floor all the way down to the basement fifth floor, you're going down by 7 floors. Okay? You don't add these together. You subtract them. All right? So my next one, 2, 2. You can tell that's going to be 0 already. And if you go based off of the definition of slope, the change in y over the change in x, that's going to be -7 over 0. Hopefully you remember that you cannot divide by 0, so that means that this slope is undefined. All right, so go ahead and take a look at the next one. I'm going to do this one in blue. So again, the change in y from 1 to 5, you go plus 4. And from 4 to 1, that's down 3. So again, the slope is the change in y over the change in x, which is +4 over -3. Box this one, undefined. And last but not least, we have 1 to -1. That is, well, actually, let me just be consistent. So 1 to -1. If I go from 1 to -1, that's going to be down 2. And from -4 to 2, that's going to be down 6. Sorry, up 6. -4 to +2 is up 6. Okay, so my slope, again, is the change in y over the change in x. And that is going to be -2 over +6, which is going to reduce to -1 over 3 as the slope. Okay, now I know some people prefer the slope formula, and that's okay. I'm going to do one of these, actually two of these with the slope formula. So I'm going to do numbers 2 and 4, just because. So if I were going to do number 2 with the slope formula, again, that's going to be m. The slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Doesn't matter which one's which, so I'm going to go from here. -5 is going to be 2. This is 1, so -5 minus 2 is going to be -7. And then on the denominator, you have 2 minus 2, which is 0. So you can see you're going to get undefined. All right, and then we're going to do number 4 for this one. You can see it. Again, if I use the formula given here, we have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Remember, the minus I say is opposite. It's not necessarily minus. All right, so over here, we're going to go ahead and start with -1. And then that's going to be y1 is -1 minus y1, or sorry, y2 minus y1, which is -1 also. That's going to be -2. Then the denominator, we're going to have 2 minus -4. Remember, it's opposite. right? So it's going to be 2 for x2. x1 is negative 4, but the opposite is positive 4. That's going to give us positive 6. It's going to give us negative 1 over 3. All right, perfect. So we are good to go. Anyway, so let's go ahead and start. So linear functions, remember this is going to be a note in your notebook or whatever your case. Then prediction, what is slope-intercept form? Hopefully you've seen it before. Now, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Or if you do it in function form, f of x equals mx plus b. The important part is to know mx plus b. Now, what does that even mean? Because otherwise, it's just a random mix of letters, right? So m, remember, is your slope, and b is your y-intercept. So remember that, okay? Now, what is the y-intercept? We know what slope is. We just checked it, right? Slope is the rise over the run. So what is the y-intercept? So remember from before, the y-intercept is the point where the graph intersects the y-axis. Now I'm going to go ahead and highlight the y-axis in yellow. The y-axis is the vertical. Ooh, that's terrible. The vertical axis right over here. All right. Now, if I drew a random line like so, draw this. All right, let's do it like this. Okay, there's my line. Where does this red line touch the y-axis? So you can see that the y-intercept is right over here, which is negative 1. But remember, it's a point. So it's going to be 0, negative 1. All right, because you don't go right or left, you just go down 1. That's it. Okay, so that is the y-intercept here. All right, so now let's go ahead and practice real quick. Let's go ahead and find the slope and the y-intercept of this function. So the first thing you need to do for graphing, oh, by the way, I totally just skipped over the objective. The objective is to graph linear functions. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. Hopefully you can make some graphs on your notes. All right, there you go. So we have f of x equals 2x, 2 over 3x minus 7. Now remember, it's y, or f of x and y are the same thing, equals mx plus b. We want to find m, which is the slope, and b, which is the y-intercept. Okay, so here's a trick. Not really a trick, but just a rule of thumb. X always has the slope. So whatever number is in front of x, that's your slope. The one that's alone, the constant, is the y-intercept. In this case, you see 2 over 3 is with x. That's going to be our slope. And our b-intercept is not 7. Pay attention to the sign. It's going to be negative 7. Okay? So we'll talk about what this means in a little bit. And actually, a fraction for a slope is a lot easier to use. Okay, then now go ahead and practice on your own. See what you got. You pause it. Okay, so let's go through real quick. So then m, remember, in front of the x, that's going to be 7. The y-intercept is the individual number, which is just 2. This is what the equation should have been, y equals x minus 3. Now m, you saw me erase it just a second ago. But if there is no number in front of x, it's automatically going to be a 1. So you do want to remember that that's there. My slope is going to be 1. My y-intercept is going to be negative 3. Now for the last one in blue, I have the slope. Remember, slope is with x. A lot of people think the slope is always the first number. It's not. In this case, slope is 2. And the y-intercept is negative 3 over 4. So don't get mixed up with the order of the numbers. Look at where the variable is. Always pay attention to that. Okay, so now let's go ahead and actually graph this. The first thing that you want to do is label your slope and y-intercept. That's all you need. It's called slope-intercept form, and that's exactly what you need, the slope and the intercept. All right, so let's go ahead and label this. This is the slope, which is in front of x, is 3 over 5, and b is negative 4. So you know how to find the parts, the tools. Now you need to know how to use them. All right, this is a little useless if you don't know how to actually use it. Okay, so then You always start with your y-intercept. B. I always think B for beginning. Where do I begin? So we're going to begin at -4. Now remember, this is the y-intercept, so it's always going to be on this axis. So where is -4? -4 is right here. So this is our starting point, our beginning. 3/5 is our slope. How do I use that? So I know that this point is going to be on our line. I just don't know what the line is. The line has to go through here. Now what is this? It's our slope, and it tells you the direction that you're going to go. Remember, it's rise over run. So the first number goes up and down, bottom number on the denominator goes left and right. Now you have to pay attention to the sign. Look at them separately. 3 is positive, so that means we're going to go up. The denominator is positive as well, so that means we're going to go to the right. I like to put the arrows on my slope so I know what direction I'm going. Now, when we do new points, we are always going to begin at our y-intercept. Key mistake people do is they start right on the origin. Don't do that. When you're using your slope, start on your y-intercept. So right here. It's up 3, right 5. So I'm going to start here. Up 3. By the way, you don't need to draw this arrow here. Then right 5. That means my next point is going to be here. I always keep going. I'm always going to go until I run out of room. So I'm going to go up 3 again. Right 5. You should see that I'm actually going to run out of room here. That's it. And here's the key thing. You can go backwards. When I say backwards, exactly the opposite. So if I went up and right, I'm going to go down and left. That's a key mistake people do, is they go down and right again. But look at it. If I went down and then right, does that look like a line to you? That's only 4. Does that look like a line to you? It's not. So I'm going to go down and left. Okay, so down and left, right? Down, left. All right, so let me actually change the color of these so you can see where I'm actually putting my points. You can see that they are in a straight line. If your points aren't in a straight line, then you know that you messed up somewhere. All right, so the last thing you need to do, I mean, it's not a line right now, it's just a bunch of points. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a line through these, just like so. I always put a line all the way through. Okay, there you go. That's it. Remember, it goes on forever, so to add your arrows on it. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and go through the next example. So you have y equals -3x plus 1. Once again, we're going to go ahead and label our slope and our y-intercept. We're going to practice that. What is it? All right, so hopefully you were able to get this. So m, the slope is going to be -3. That's what's in front of x. B is +1, so our y-intercept. So again, we're going to go ahead and start on our graph at +1, so right over here. And now I'm not going to draw the arrows like I did on this one. I'm just going to go ahead and put the points where they should be. All right, so now my next thing is to figure out, where do I go? What's my direction? I have my starting point. I need to know where I'm going. So our slope is -3. Now, remember, it's rise over run. Thing is, I only have one number. So where does the second number come from? Remember, you can write any number as a fraction. So if I have -3, I can make it into a fraction by putting it as -3 over 1. So the rule of thumb here is if you have an integer, then put it over 1. That way you have the rise and the run. All right, so -3, that is the rise, which means I'm actually going downward. +1, again, it's positive, it's going to go to the right. All right, so then the next part is to go ahead and start right at our y-intercept and go down 3, right 1. So down 3, right 1, down 3, right 1. Like I said, I just keep going until I run out of room, and I can't go 3 anymore, so I'm done there. Now I'm going to go the opposite. So instead of going down, go up. Instead of going left, instead of going right, go left. So up 3, left 1. up 3, left 1, 3, left 1. And you can see that's a perfect line right there. From there, just go ahead and draw the line. That shouldn't be too bad. That's it. Done. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to go ahead and let you look at the steps. All right, so this is just in words. What am I doing? So the first thing I'm going to do is identify the slope, which is m, and the y-intercept, which is b. You see how we did that right over here. Next thing I'm going to do is graph the y-intercept. Right, that's where I start. B for beginning. So I started right here at 1. Remember, it's the y-intercept. A key mistake people do is they start here. That's 1, but that's not 1 on the y-axis. That's 1 on the x-axis. Always remember to go up and down. So it's up 1, not right 1. Then use the slope to find more points. Again, I need to figure out what direction I'm going in, which is down and right in this case. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw the points. I always put as many as I can fit on my graph. And from there, you just draw a line. Here's a quick thing to remember to see if you're doing it correctly. If I look at my slope, it's positive, right? Positive and positive, that's positive. So if I have a positive slope, that means you are going upward. Look at this graph, it's going upward. If you forgot how to tell, you write your name. My name's going up, and it's going upward, and it's positive. This one's a negative slope, you can see it. And you can see that if I wrote my name, I am going downward. Hopefully you can tell. That's a good way to check it. Is my slope positive or negative? And from there, I can tell if I'm going up or I'm going down. All right, last one. And then we're going to go on to the opposite. Okay. So one more and we're good. So here you go. Y equals -5 over 4x plus 9. I'll let you go and do this one by yourself. All right, so then let's continue. I'm assuming, like I said, you pausing and then you're doing it on your own. So we have the slope and the y-intercept. And the slope is with the x. So it's going to be -5 over 4. My slope, my y-intercept is +9. Now, when you're doing this negative, the negative, I always put it on the numerator. You can put it on the denominator if you want. But the thing is, you don't put both negative. Because if I put 2 negatives, that makes it positive, which you already know it's not. So when the negative, I just put it on top to make it easier. So -5 here. So then I'm going to go ahead and start at 9. So remember, it's not right 9, it's up 9. It's the y-intercept. So right here at 9. Where am I going? My next thing to do is figure out my direction. So -5 is down, +4 is right. So I'm going to go down 5. So 1, 2, 3, 5. Then right. Down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right. Now you can already tell that I'm not going to be able to go right 4, so that's it. Now I can also go the other direction, which is up 5 and left 4. Now I'm sure you can tell already from here, I can't go up 5, so that's as many points as I'm going to get. From here, just go ahead and draw a line between all the points, and that's not going to work very well. Like that. Draw a line between all the points, and you're good. Perfect. Again, you can go ahead and practice this on the homework sheet. And we're going to go ahead and go to the next one. Now we're going to go backwards. What is the equation of this graph? Again, hopefully you remember the slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Now we're going to go opposite. We're going to actually find the slope and the y-intercept from the graph this time instead of from the equation. Shouldn't be too bad. So I always look for the y-intercept first because it's easier. Where does this graph touch the y-axis? I can see that it touches the y-axis right here. Now, what is that? Okay, that's -3. So my y-intercept is -3. Okay, now from here, figure out what the slope is. So find another nice point. Okay, so I like to go to the right personally. If I go to the right, I want to find a nice point. All right, so right here, you can see it's going to go through perfectly, so that's good. If you want to do it again, you can. Right? See that I have a bunch of nice points right here. When I say nice point, it's going to go through an exact number like this. This, for example, is not a nice point because it's middle. All right, so it's called a lattice point, by the way. Okay, then from here, just go the direction, right? Remember, it's going to be change in y over the change in x, so it's rise over run. Figure it out. So I'm going to go up 2 and right 3. Go up 2, right 3. And the thing about linear equations is that it should be the same every time. You see it's up 2, right 3, 2, right 3. Perfect. So it's going to be positive 2 over positive 3. Now I'm not done. We have to actually put this into an equation. Remember, it's y equals mx plus b. So y is equal to m, which is our slope, 3, x, then our y-intercept plus b, going to be negative 3, so 2 over 3x minus 3. There you go. That's your equation. Perfect. Okay, so then I'll let you go ahead and do this one. I'll start you off a little bit. So remember, you're going to write your slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. You need to find out what's m, what's b. All right, so again, I'm assuming you finished it. So m and b. So again, look at the y-intercept. You can see right here, the y-intercept. That's at positive 1. Now again, just find a nice point. You can go either direction. I'm going to go ahead and go to the right because I would go to the right. And I can see that the nice point is right over here. Right? And again, I can go the other one just to confirm. See if it's the right slope. I can see another one right here. All right, so what do? I went down 3, right 4. So down 3 is negative 3, right 4 is positive 4. Okay, my slope is negative 3 over, I can check the other way if I want. That's going to be up 3 and left 4, positive 3 and negative 4. You can see how the sign just switched, but it's the same thing anyway. Now I'm going to put this together. Y equals m, which is negative 3 over 4, x plus b, which is plus 1. Okay, and that's the lesson. So the rest of it, you're going to go ahead and do on your own, on the homework, and I will post the assignment with the video. All right, so now let's go ahead and do the second lesson for today. That's how you do slope-intercept form. Let's go ahead and look at the next one. So here's your second quote of the day. Is the person who says it cannot be done, not interrupt the person who is doing it. All right, so if someone says it can't be done, then don't worry about it. If someone's trying to do it, let them. Because who knows, they might be able to do it. Okay, so then now we're going to graph in what's called standard form. So you just learned about slope-intercept form. Let's go ahead and do standard form now. So remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We're going to be doing a slightly different form, and it's going to be graphed a little bit differently. Okay, so what you need to know for today are the intercepts. So remember, x-intercept is where the graph touches the x-axis, and the y-intercept, which we just did in slope-intercept form, is where the graph touches the y-axis. All right, so again, x is the vertical, sorry, horizontal, y is the vertical. Okay, then what are the coordinates of all y-intercepts? So look for a pattern here. I'm going to go ahead and put just a few. You know it's going to be on this axis, right? Let's look at these red points. What are the coordinates? The first one is going to be 0, 8. Second one is going to be 0, 4. This is going to be 0, 0, 0, negative 3, and 0, negative 6. Hopefully you can already see a pattern here. So what are the coordinates of all y-intercepts? You should be able to see that the similarity is that they all have 0 as the x value. And they're just going to have some number as the y value. So I'm just going to put y here. So it's going to be 0, comma, y. So some number. That's the reverse. What about all the x-intercepts? Okay, so this right here is going to be -9, 0, -7, 0, -4, 0, 0, 0, 4, 0, and 8, 0. Again, what's the similarity between all the x-intercepts? Well, that is that now it's the opposite. It's flipped. It's going to be some number x, comma, 0. All the y values are 0 in this case. All right? Perfect. Okay, so then keep that in mind. That's going to be really, really important today. So here you go. You know the graphical definition. Now let's look at the algebraic definition. So the algebraic definition of y-intercept is the value of y when x is equal to 0. Right? So the opposite variable is 0. So if it's the y-intercept, then x is 0. If it's the x-intercept, that's the x value when y is 0. Okay, so again, the opposite. Now here's what standard form is. You're going to want to remember this. It's ax plus by equals c. Now you can see here that x and y are on the same side of the equation. It could be left or right, doesn't really matter, but most people put it on the left side. And c is the constant that's by itself. And you do have coefficients on both. So a is going to be in front of x, b is going to be in front of y. So now you can see slope-intercept form is y is by itself, right? And x and the constant are on the other side, okay? Now let's go ahead and look at this. There is a rule for this. A and b can be any number except 0 together. Now c doesn't matter. C can be whatever it wants. It could be 0, it could be anything. The thing, it cannot be 0 at the same time. So here are some examples that work and that don't work. So if I have 3x plus 2y equals -6, that's perfectly fine. None of them are 0. Now if you have 3x plus 0y equals 0, that's okay too. Even though b is 0, a is not 0. That's okay. Same thing with this one. 0x plus 2y equals 0. That's totally fine. Remember, c doesn't matter. C can be anything. It's a and b. In this case, a is 0, but b is not. So that's okay. The only one that doesn't work is when both of these are 0. If 0x plus 0y equals -6, that does not work. Okay? And not have both a and b being 0. And c doesn't matter. If all three of them are 0, still doesn't matter because you can't have both of them being 0. When I say them, a and b. Hopefully that makes sense to you. All right, so then let's go ahead and find the x and y intercepts of the following equations. So 3x minus y equals 9. So if you recall, how are we going to find this? We already said for the x-intercept, right? For this x-intercept in blue, the x-intercept, we already know that the y value is 0. And for the y-intercept, we already know that the x value is 0. All we need to do is plug in 0 for that value. All right, so then I'm going to put 3x minus y equals 9. That's the equation up here. Remember, here y is 0. So all I have to do is 3x minus, instead of y, put 0 equals 9. Easy. Now what's 3x minus 0? 0 doesn't do anything, so it's just going to be 3x minus 9. Now equals 9, not minus 9. 3x equals 9. So divide by 3, and you're done. So x is equal to 9 divided by 3 is 3. Perfect. Remember, it is a coordinate, right? It's not just the number, it's a coordinate. So my x-intercept is going to be, I don't know where to put it. I'll put it right here. Going to be 3, 0. Remember, it's a coordinate. Same thing as do the y-intercept. I'm going to put the equation here. So 3x minus y is equal to 9. We're plugging 0. So 3 times 0, in this case, minus y is equal to 9. 3 times 0 is 0. So what happens when you do 0 minus y? This doesn't do anything, right? It's just 0. So I have negative y equals 9. You need to go ahead and get rid of the negative sign. Remember, it's a -1, so divide by -1. Goes away. we're going to have y is equal to -9. Remember, this is not your solution. You need to make it into a coordinate. It's a point. So our y-intercept is going to be 0, -9. There you go. Easy. Hopefully you're okay with that. Now I'm going to actually show you a shortcut. Hopefully you can see a shortcut here. Here you go. I have 3x minus y equals 9. You saw here when we did the x-intercept, what did y become? Y became 0. And what did the 0 do? Nothing. Same thing here. You saw what you plugged in, 0. What happens when you multiply by 0? It becomes 0. What does 0 do when you add or subtract it? Nothing. So the 0 here actually does nothing, right? So we already know that for x-intercept, y is going to be 0. So guess what I can do? I can just pretend it's not there because the y doesn't do anything when it's 0. So when I'm looking for x, the x-intercept, cover up y. Alright, so then I'm going to have 3x equals 9. So you see how I am going to immediately get to this equation? All I have to do is divide by 3, and we can get x equals 3. Right? And that's the x value. Remember, it's going to be 3, 0. Much faster. Same with the y-intercept. If I'm doing the y-intercept, you don't need x, so cover up x. What do I have here? We have negative y equals 9. There you go. I'm right here. Divided by -1. Way, y equals -9. Right there. Again, I'm going to have 0, -9. Done. So the shortcut, again, is just cover up the variable that you don't need. If you're looking for the x-intercept, cover up y. Looking for y-intercept, cover up x. That's it. Then why does the shortcut work? Hopefully you can figure that out on your own. I just said it. Then the shortcut works because when you plug in 0, 0 doesn't affect the number when you add or subtract it. Okay, so go ahead and find the x and y intercepts of the following equations. So practice it on your own, real quick. All right, I'm going to assume that you did it by yourself, so I'm going to do the blue one first. So again, if I am going to be solving, what I'm going to do is look for the x-intercept first. Looking for the x-intercept, cover up y. I don't need it. So the x-intercept is -5x equals 30. Divided by -5. So x is going to be -6. Now what's my coordinate? It's going to be -6, 0. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and find the y-intercept. Or for y-intercept, you're going to go ahead and cover up x. All right. So then I'm just going to get y equals 30. Do I need to divide? Actually, don't need to do anything. I'm already done. Okay. So then I'm going to put my coordinate 0, 30. Done. All right. Now, I'm not going to do these ones. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the solutions. Hopefully, again, you did it on your own. So for here, x-intercept is going to be a fraction in this case. You're going to get -3/2, and the y-intercept here is going to be 0, 3. And for the one in green, your x-intercept is going to be, there you go, 4/7, 0, and your y-intercept is going to be 0, -2. Awesome. There you go. Hopefully you're okay and comfortable with finding the x and y intercepts from a standard form equation. I'm going to skip that. And let's go ahead and graph now. Now you've found the parts, how do I use them to make a graph? So again, we're going to go ahead and find the x-intercept. And then we're going to go ahead and find the y-intercept. The x-intercept, remember, I don't need y, so get rid of it. I have just x equals 6. Again, what does that mean? Our intercept is going to be 6, 0. Now let's go ahead and find the y-intercept. So our y-intercept is going to be negative 2y equals 6. Now I actually have to do something this time. So divide by negative 2 on both sides. We're going to get y is equal to negative 3. There you go. That's it. That's our y-intercept. 0, negative 3. You just need to recognize which one is going to be 0. I think that's the tricky part. Sometimes people mix them up. Pay attention. Y-intercept, y is the number. X-intercept, x is the number. The opposite value is going to be 0. So from here, just go ahead and graph. So 6, 0 is right over here. 0, negative 3 is right over here. Now, do I need to find a slope? I don't. Because how many points do you need to draw a line? You only need 2. Once I have those 2 points, done. I'm just going to go ahead and draw a line between points. That's it. Okay. Done. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do 2 more with you, and we'll be done. So here is how to graph standard form. Remember, you find the x and y intercepts. So you plug in 0 for the opposite variable. Or you can do the shortcut like I did and just cover up the variable that you don't need. Once you do that, go ahead and graph the intercepts like you saw I did here with these 2 points. And that's all you need. Just 2 points. Go ahead and draw a line between the two. Good. As long as you're using a ruler, it's pretty easy. If you try to do it freehand, you might actually mess up a little bit and the line might not be accurate. But again, it's not that hard to get a straight edge or a ruler. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a couple more. Let's go ahead and let's do this one. The 2x plus y equals 4. You can do the others for sure if you'd like on your own, but they're not required. Then let's go ahead and find the x-intercept. I'm going to find the x-intercept, again, cover up y. So I have 2x equals 4. I'm going to need to divide by 2 to get x alone. X is equal to 2. My x-intercept, remember x is 2, so 2, 0. And my y-intercept. This one, cover up x. I don't know why it's like that. Oh well. Then I'm going to need to go ahead and put that. This one's easy. It's just going to be y equals 4. And I'm done. I don't need to do anything. So it's going to be 0, 4. Done. And again, go ahead and graph these. So hopefully you're okay with how to graph. So 2, 0. And 0, 4. Right here. And again, now that I have them, just go ahead and draw the line between them. There you go. Boom. And boom. Right? Easy. I know that didn't. There you go. That's better. Perfect. There you go. Not too bad. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let's do one more. Let's do this one. This is actually a pretty good one to do. So I have 3x minus y equals 0. Let's see what happens here. Now I'm going to do my x-intercept, right? Like before. So my x-intercept, cover up y. We're going to get 3x equals 0. Right? So divide by 3. You know that 0 divided by anything is going to be 0. My x-intercept is 0, 0. The same thing with the y-intercept. Cover up the x, you're going to get negative y equals 0. Divide by negative 1. And guess what? You're going to get 0. So my y-intercept is 0, 0. Uh-oh. What does that mean? If I graph it, I only have 1 point. 0, 0. That's it. How can I draw a line with only 1 point now? So the answer to that is you need to find a second point. Okay, if that's the case, I can't use the intercepts because my intercepts are the same number. What I'm going to need to do now is pick a random number to plug in. It doesn't even matter what you plug in. You can choose either x or y. It's totally up to you. Okay, so again, if you ever get to the part where you have the same intercepts, 0, 0, then you're going to need to find a third point. Right? The third point is going to be x, comma, y. Now you get to pick one of these. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You can pick either x or you can pick y. Now I'm going to pick x just because I feel like it. So I'm going to just pick 3, right? 3 comma something. I don't know what y is. I need to find out y. So I'm going to go ahead and look at my equation, which was 3x minus y is equal to 0. What I'm going to do is put in 3 for x. So I'm going to have 3 times 3 minus y, 0. Now all I need to do is get y by itself. 3 times 3 is 9, minus y equals 0. Subtract 9 on both sides. Goes away. I'm going to continue up here so I don't have to scroll down. I'm going to get negative y equals negative 9. Divide by negative 1 on both sides. And get y is equal to positive 9. So my new point is 3, 9. Not 0, 9, 3, 9. X was 3. That was what I plugged in. And 9 like so. Okay, so there you go. There's our next point, is 3, 9. So I go right 3, up 9. There's my point. And now from here, we can go ahead and draw our line. Okay, let me adjust this a little bit. And there you go. Done. Oh, different colors, whatever. Anyway, there you go. That's it. That's the lesson. So now you have 2 assignments to be doing. You have one with the slope-intercept form, like so. Again, you need to find the slope, find the y-intercept, then graph. Not too bad. And then here you have the standard form, which is x and y on both sides, constant on the other side. You find the x and y intercepts, you graph from there. If you have any questions, please, please, please watch the video. Maybe watch it a few times, practice, and attend the Zoom sessions. If, again, I understand that some people have other commitments, especially family commitments, then please make sure you email me and I will help you as much as I can. Anyway, everyone have a wonderful day. Goodbye.